Good Easter Friday morning to all of you. May peace and blessings be upon you all. Those who celebrate Easter and who don't celebrate, we all need peace and mercy upon our souls. And shalom alaikum to all our Jewish friends and brothers and sisters who are celebrating or celebrated Passover yesterday. I'm talking to you from the eye of the storm, preparing this morning for a live stream about overcoming the COVID-19. But while I'm preparing here, had my bulletproof coffee and my cold dip in the cold bath. And I couldn't help but notice the calm and peace that's been around us for the last few days, but mainly today being what I call the eye of the storm, the midpoint of our 2-week lockdown in New Zealand. So hopefully it is the midpoint that we're not going to extend it. And it's very, very peaceful. The earth is peaceful, the skies are peaceful, and this is a phenomenon that we're noticing all around the world nowadays. That earth has become more peaceful because of our activity being reduced, being locked down, as we're all calling it now, and quarantine and all that stuff as human beings. Now, I'm not an expert on hurricanes or cyclones because I've never been in one, but from what I've been told, the stories that I've been told about the eye of the storm, most pertinently when I was in Necker Island with Richard Branson and a group of close friends and entrepreneurs who were there in 2018 in Necker Island. He was telling us stories, his team, of course. We spent a whole week, so we had a good chance to speak to their team, and they were telling us about the devastating hurricanes, of course, that devastated the British Virgin Islands and many Caribbean islands the year before that. And the stories all had deeper meanings, of course, about struggles and overcoming together. And when we went down to the BVI, main islands, so the destruction and the rebuild and the human unity that it brought people together, that was absolutely amazing. The thing was that stuck in my mind the whole time was the stories they were telling about that midpoint when the hurricane first came. Everybody had to run away, obviously, and hide and all these things. Mass destruction started happening. However, suddenly there was a clear sky, clear, beautiful skies, superbly calm. It's calmer than any other calm. Even the ocean calmed down, everything calmed down. And many people tried to come out and see what happened and check on the devastation, obviously, and thinking that it's all over. The ones who've been through other cyclones before, obviously, were telling them, no, stay inside. This is just the eye of the storm, the middle part of the storm. The rest that's coming will be worse for two reasons. One, because we think that the problem is over. We see this calm, we feel this calm, so we think, okay, our fear is not justified anymore. We can come out and expose ourselves without thinking about what's coming. And two, because the first part of the storm had already weakened the structure of everything that's around it, trees, houses, everything else. So now what has been weakened, when the second part of the storm comes through, it just causes even more destruction than any one single part of the storm alone, obviously. So this is what I've been feeling, that this is what's happening right now. We are in the eye of the storm in this COVID-19 crisis, and our fear state that caused us all to freeze, obviously, and question what's going on and what's going on with humanity and where are we going from here, really. And like I said in my other video, it's not a question of whether we shall overcome. We shall overcome. We know that. But what will we become? That's a decision to make now before the second part of the storm hits us all. Talking just about the sky and Earth. Earth has cleaned itself up from human activity and human ignorance and human carelessness and human apathy within 2-3 weeks or a month or two, depending on where in the world you are right now. Waterways are clearing up, the air is clearing up, the Himalayas are more visible, dolphins are coming back to Venice, and so on and so forth. So it is showing us that without us, it is better off. Without our activity, it's not without us, it's without our ridiculous and careless activity, it is better without us. That's Earth. But humanity itself and our constant transactions with each other, as well as with our ecosystem and inner ecosystem, outer ecosystem, how we look after ourselves, how we look after each other, how we look after our home, the Earth, basically, that is going to continue. And my worry is, or my question is, are we going to go back to our old normal? Are we trying to just wait for this to pass so that we can go back to the old normal and mess everything else up again, even though we've been shown this peace and quiet with our reduced activity? Or are we going to change? Are we going to become better? Are we going to go back to polluting and destroying and literally pissing in our own pool, for lack of a better saying, and shitting all over Earth and our ecosystem, like I said, our economy, which is nothing more than a way to manage our resources and transact together. That's what an economy is. It's not money. It's how we manage our resources, human resources, emotional resources, physical resources, materialistic resources, everything else. Manage them properly and share them more evenly and more humanely and more fairly. Or are we going to be, again, unfair to ourselves, unfair to our humanity, unfair to each other, and buy from corporates that, as has been very evident lately, and really it's been evident all around, but right now, all these big multi-billion dollar corporates or billionaires themselves, where are they? What are they doing to help humanity? And the ones who say they're trying to help philanthropically, well, obviously they have a much bigger gain to gain out of it. While the so-called little people, who are all people, we're all humans, there's no little and big people, nobody's better than the other, there's no royalty or anything like that. Are those evident to you now how more valuable they are? The health workers, the cleaners, the supermarket workers, the delivery people, who a lot of them get paid minimum wage or just above that all around the world, and healthcare workers who are oppressed and suppressed by systems that are run either by corporates, again for profits, in many parts of the world, or by government officials and other authorities and specialists in higher ranks who just lead the whole team with dogma and with self-protection, telling them what to do and what not to do, when they know that those people's main job is to care for the living, care for the dying, show love and show compassion, but yet their hands are restricted and the bureaucracy is hindering them and falling out of rank, saying, oh, maybe our treatments haven't been working, our methods of looking after people haven't been working, can we do better, can we change to this? They get told off, they get shunned out, they get oppressed, basically. That's the best word that I can use, unless they just leave the whole system and go do it privately, which is very small, obviously, because we can't change things one person at a time. We can change them collectively, only when we unite and create better. So after this eye of the storm passes, this peaceful time passes, and the rest of the storm really starts to hit us, the storm of awareness and conscious awareness of what we've been doing before, what are we going now, the economic, like I said, and the social destruction, and the depression and the sadness and the anger and the separation and the loneliness that has happened during this time on a mass scale, on a mass global scale, never seen before. Well, at least in our generation, hasn't been seen before. What are the consequences of all these things? What are we going to do about that second part of the hurricane that's going to hit us, all of us basically? Restricted travel, restricted contact, restricted this, restricted that, restrict everything, with the intent of what? With the intent of overcoming a virus, really? Or with the intent of controlling humanity even more and creating chaos for some people to gain more power and the rest of us to have less power? Well, the power is with the people. It is our time to empower ourselves, to empower each other with love, with caring, to overcome ignorance, and it's time to stop tolerating. One, stop tolerating each other and stop tolerating the wrong that's been done in our name, and start accepting it for what it is. Accept each other as a world of me and we, you and I, not you or I, because acceptance is the key, not tolerance. And when we accept the big things that have been happening around us or trying to happen around us as what they are, but they're not good things, we need to change them. Once you accept something, you can deal with it. Once you tolerate something, well, it's not so good, but it's all right, I'll just live along with it. Well, it's time to overcome that. And I stated that very clearly in my book in 2012, which was like kind of a statement for myself. What is my core fight for? Not what it's against, but you have to define what it's against first and then come back to what it's for. So my core fundamental fight is against human apathy, lack of knowledge basically, or lack of caring, human ignorance, and human tolerance and intolerance of each other and of circumstances, of everything else that's going around us. It's a fight for knowledge that's properly applied, a fight for caring for each other and caring about what is right and what is wrong, and acceptance of each other. So not tolerance, but acceptance, not ignorance, but knowledge intelligently and properly applied, Not apathy, which is lack of care, but caring. Really, do you care? And that part there is very visible right now. Do we really care? Like all these humans that were suppressed and oppressed or homeless or whatever, and all these wars that have been going on under our noses with our names, and all these soldiers who are humans basically sent to fight wars that they have nothing to do with that, just to give their authorities more power and more money basically. How come they just suddenly stopped? How come all the wars just stopped, and all the new wars that we're talking about haven't continued? Well, why did we do that right now? Why are the homeless people being put in hostel rooms basically, and in hotels at this moment in time? Why are all sick people like places in the United States where they don't have Medicare for or anything like that, like Bernie was calling for? Everybody gets free care suddenly. Like, what brought it to us all now that we can do these things so suddenly? Is it fear? Well, it is at this moment in time. My question is, if we really cared, why can't we do all of this all the time, but out of love rather than out of fear? If you want any proof that we can stop wars, that we can stop tolerating or intolerating each other and everything else around us, if you want proof that we can care and create a better world together, well, here it is right now. We just did it. But we're doing it out of fear, which can have massive consequences, negative consequences, if we continue in fear. But how about we change that to doing it out of love, doing it intentionally, doing it carefully, doing it because of acceptance of our place in this world, which is to serve each other, and our purpose is to serve each other, not to serve the earth. As you can see, the earth is much better, much better without us, really. It's to serve each other with love, with caring, and with knowledge that's intelligently applied, not just out of fear. So let's act out of love. Let's pass through this eye of the storm more intelligently and more intentionally, so that when the second part of the storm hits us, which will hit us, we're more prepared to create a better world. Out of that chaos becomes more order. Sometimes you have to break down real bad before you build beautiful. So let's build beautiful out of this breakdown. Thank you. I'll see you later. At 10 o'clock, we'll be live streaming, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.